They finally did it. How can you not feel happy for those kids? Michigan State, yeah, they break their very long 8-game losing streak after a turbulent season, to say the least. Now, will that actually mean anything moving forward for Jonathan Smith and company? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing in the wee hours of Sunday morning? Or, hey, maybe this is the first thing that you're doing on Sunday morning, listening to this here show on the number one ranked Locked On Podcast Network. And if so, hey guys, thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans your first listen every single day. Or yeah, if you are listening to the live show right now at dang near 1 a.m., guys, thanks a lot. Much appreciated. This will likely be a shorter show because I've got a hunch that we will be talking again soon by the time Sunday afternoon rolls around. But hey, you know what? Just got home from Ford Field. Still feeling the energy, and we got some things to talk about here. Yeah, we'll talk about the 38-28 victory. Michigan State finally in the win column, ending their season, yes, with no bowl game for the fourth straight year, but ending their season in the win column. Now, we have bigger fish to fry other than this small game because, well, what does this mean for Jonathan Smith? Doesn't mean anything for Jonathan Smith. That will dominate the conversation here a little bit. But first and foremost, this gets lost in the shuffle here. And this is my fault too, because I'm the one that talks about this team. So when I talk about that, hey, people don't talk enough about the humans that are inside that locker room, I'm talking about myself. I'm calling myself out right here. Because there was a very humanistic moment that happened today in the game. One that you have to lead the show off with. One that has to be brought to attention for Michigan State fans here. And this was one of the best plays, not of the game, but of the whole season. And yes, a very forgettable season for Michigan State. But it's hard not to feel really good about what happened to Alante Brown out there. Now, if you're not hip to Alante Brown, his whole story, I encourage that you just look a little bit into it or listen to what I have to say for the next minute. You get to choose what you want to do there. If you only look at what has happened to this kid in the football field, that would just be enough right there. Right? Like 4-star kid out of high school, out of Chicago, goes to Nebraska. Obviously, as you know by now, he transfers over to Michigan State. Didn't necessarily have the career that the 4-star billing lived up to be. He came into this game, no touchdowns to his name in his 6 years in college football. And while he's had no touchdowns, he's had what seems like an endless list of injuries in his career, including here at Michigan State. Some season ending, some, like this year, might as well have been labeled season ending as he missed, 10 games, 9 games, whatever it was. This kid has only been dealt a bad hand in the injury department in college football. If you just looked at that, that would be enough to feel really good about what happened with his 90-plus yard kickoff return. The first kickoff return for Michigan State, I believe, since 2014. Like, hard stop, great, awesome feeling. But then there's the human side to this. You go and read what Graham Couch unearthed this offseason, did a wonderful profile piece over at Lansing State Journal. For one thing, it comes out that, well, okay, his father's been incarcerated since 2000. Like, that right there, okay, that's unimaginably tough for many of us. His grandma, very recently, dealing with a cancer battle. And then his current fiance, the lady that he's been with since high school, gunshot incident. She's been largely unresponsive in the hospital the entire summer. Graham Couch caught up with him after the game today. Basically said the condition hasn't really changed much. Whether you want to take the football aspect, the human aspect, or do what anyone should do, take both sides. That's a kid dealt a brutal hand over the last few years of his life. Does the kickoff return touchdown erase everything, make it a storybook ending, have us all just, oh my God, everything turned out well for him? No, of course not. But you saw it in the stadium. You probably saw it on TV. Him taking the helmet off, I mean, in a largely lost season, that's as cathartic and just expressive of a celebration anyone's ever had for a touchdown. And right when number 0 crossed the goal line, how can you not feel outstanding for the kid if not for that fleeting moment? Nothing but bad things seemingly dealt to him the last few years. I'm glad he at least got to smile, celebrate with his teammates, feel that release that, okay, I at least crossed the goal line in my last college game. Look, I know that the micro of the game probably is going to get lost in the whole shuffle here. But if not for nothing else, I'm just elated that Alante Brown had that moment because, by all accounts, outstanding kid. Like, he's wearing the C on his jersey for a reason. His teammates love him. The coaching staff loves him. So, awesome moment right there. I know that we have bigger fish to fry. I know that we got to talk Jonathan Smith, what's going to happen to the future of MSU football, but I wouldn't sleep well at night if we didn't at least start the show with that. So let's move forward here to the Jonathan Smith conversation because after the game, he was, of course, asked if, hey, bud, last we talked to you on Monday, you said that you didn't have a clear answer from MSU leadership whether you were going to come back for next season or not. You got anything for us today? A week has passed. Surely you've heard something, right? And it turns out that largely he said no. I don't know. No. And he said, I'm going to talk with Jay Batt probably in the next few days. I would hope you talk to your boss in the next few days after your season ends, but I digress. And this isn't a knock against Smith. He didn't know. And what I can only assume is that we're going to find something out Sunday morning, Sunday early afternoon. I don't think this is going to be dragged out like the Lane Kiffin saga, which has just been a completely different issue that I have a lot of opinions on, but this is Locked on Spartans. We'll keep it to the Jonathan Smith saga. At this point, and I've gone back and forth on this, but at this point right now, in the wee hours of Sunday, I would be a little surprised to see this continue much longer. And you've heard my reasons ad nauseum if you're an everyday listener. Lack of development for the players. There's been plenty of in-game coaching mistakes that we've seen. Recruiting not necessarily popping off, right? And we'll get to the energy of the fan base here in a little bit. But in the here and now, I think that something would have to happen. And that's not really me breaking anything because this has been all the talk, at least here on this show. Probably you if you're a Michigan State fan, which I assume you are. The last week or so, it's actually kind of gotten a little bizarre how little talk there has been because you're seeing teams like Wisconsin. They're not firing Luke Fickell. They're bringing him back. Okay, well, there's an announcement made by Wisconsin. Same with Maryland. Hey, we're bringing back Mike Loxley. Here's our announcement. Financial backing. Solidarity. Florida State did the same thing with Mike Norvell. You get the point, guys. Especially with early signing day coming up on Wednesday. Like, people don't make these announcements for no reason. They make announcements to lay the plan out to their donors, to their fan base, to possible incoming recruits. Like, it's been a little bizarre that we've gone this long without a statement. So, yes, that's why I expect things to start happening tomorrow. If you want me to guess, my guess is that we are moving on to the next chapter of Michigan State football. Am I 100% certain on that, even with all the information and knowledge that I've been able to gather the last few days? Hard to say 100% on anything with how much mystery there has been, but I would lean towards I think this was the end of the road here. Even with the win, even with the double-digit win against a Maryland team that also came into this game not winning a game since September. So we'll see. I think the timing is interesting. I guess why now and why not a few weeks ago? Clearly, there must be some plan in place. We'll talk about those plans that could possibly be in place. But first, guys, got to talk your ears off about Omaha Steaks. That is right. The holidays always feel a little easier when you're already, you know what the perfect gift's going to be. Omaha Steaks. They make it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season, sending someone a memorable gift to family and friends, whatever it is, guys, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to the door. And this week is the best time to jump in because the cyber sale. It's here. And the deals are huge, guys. Now, it's a quality that you already can expect from Omaha Steaks. We're talking tender steaks, rich flavor, and it makes hosting or just even cooking for yourself on a weekday that much easier. So, Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off on select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Also, guys, game time. That's right. Just like I did today. Game at Ford Field. Okay, where can I find some cheap tickets? Game time, because you could save money on flash deals, last-minute deals, whatever it is, whether it's football games, obviously this full slate of basketball games for Michigan State hoops, the World Cup is coming up. Guys, whatever it is, Game Time is the place to be. They make it so simple. It's always the upfront price. 2 taps on your phone, bang, the tickets are sent straight there. This isn't a site that's going to have $30 tickets. And then after about 57 taps, you're wondering how these $30 tickets turn into $90 tickets with all the fees. No, it's simple as Game Time, guys. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. All right, your boy needs a water break right now. God, I wish I was tea. My throat is shot after that game, and I wasn't even going too crazy like those shirtless guys up in the upper deck of the end zone. They were willing Michigan State to victory right there. They were also willing a few other things. They were doing a Jared Goff chant, and maybe once or twice those chants turn into Fire Smith chants, which could possibly be the case. Look, there's 2 schools of thought, obviously, going in. This is a very elementary thought. I'm not breaking any news to you, but thought number 1, J-Back comes out tomorrow and eventually says, hey, Smith is the guy. Sorry it took this long to say that, but yeah, Smith is the guy. We're going to have some news in the upcoming days about, maybe a financial boost to this program. Maybe many programs, who's to say, but yeah, he's here. Now, thought number 2 is that it is the end of the road for Smith, which the timing is fascinating, to say the least, if that's the route they go here. Because, well, you've seen a lot of other schools fire their guys a while ago, and those schools have already made moves on their guys. Virginia Tech with James Franklin, for example. Florida with Coach Summerall, for example. And not that MSU would ever be in the Summerall sweepstakes, but they could have been in the Bob Chesney sweepstakes, which seems to be that wind is blown over to UCLA. Like, your options get limited when you wait until, well, after the season to fire a guy that really kind of showed you during the season that things aren't going well. That's what fascinates me. It's like, what have we seen in the last few weeks that you didn't already know by the time the UCLA game ended? But whatever, maybe it was just about making sure you gather enough money to make all this happen. Or maybe you already have a guy that isn't a current head coach, maybe waiting in the arms. And that's where my mind goes to Pat Fitzgerald. I do wonder if it's just going to be that easy. Smith out, bring in Fitzgerald. He already had that interview a few weeks ago that really sounded like he already had the MSU job, citing what a great basketball coach would be like to share an athletic department with. I don't think that was all nothing necessarily. Now, am I doing like a cute, cheeky little inside information thing on this Pat Fitzgerald bit? No, I'm not. I'm just going off on a hunch here. Because also, just like everything I said, the options are already going to be limited if they do move away from Jonathan Smith. Like, Chesney's already off the board. Perhaps Jason Eck at New Mexico is your guy. And not to sound so dismissive of that, I think he's a fine coach. I could talk myself into Jason Eck, no problem. But as far as like current head coaches that already haven't been pulled from other schools, I don't know how many people are out there. Like Alex Golish is another example. He's going to Arkansas. I would have loved him at Michigan State, but we'll see. We'll talk about this. There's going to be a week worth of news here. I mean, whether it's keeping Jonathan Smith, whether there's going to be some funds rolling into the athletic department, whatever. This is going to be quite the week for Michigan State here. Anyway, I just want to talk about my experience really quick and like why I'm super duper, even despite the win. And I know we're supposed to be happy, frolicking through the daisies together, singing the alma mater, talking about how, hey, things are turning for the better under Smith. No, I'm still out. And it was a fun win. Like, I'm glad for the kids, for the coaches too. Like, these people aren't monsters. I have no personal ill will against anyone here. I'm glad everyone got to celebrate a win. But I knew that things were bad with this fan base. I knew that the apathy was high. I knew that people were largely out on this. I knew it was bad. But when I walked into Spartan Stadium, took my seat, 10 minutes before kickoff, and the lower bowl was maybe a third full, and the upper deck was maybe 3% full, that's when it really dawned on me how truly horrible this has gotten. Again, hopefully you've caught on the last few weeks. Like, I know that things are not good. Things are catastrophic. All I do is get emails about how bad things are. I knew it was bad. I did not know it was this bad, though. And what I'm going to compare it to is 2 years ago when I was in the same stadium. Poetically enough, the same stadium we sat in against Penn State when, news started to trickle out that, okay, Jonathan Smith is going to be the guy. What a poetic scene for this all to happen. 2 years ago, for that Penn State game, everyone knew that Michigan State was going to be fed feet first into the wood chipper against the Nittany Lions. There wasn't a single fan in there, at least one that is rational, that thought MSU even had a fighting chance in that game. But you know what else there was? 60,000 people in that stadium. I was sold out 2 years ago for a Michigan State team that was going to get slaughtered against Penn State. Fast forward just 2 years. 2 years. Michigan State has a chance to win a game. Maybe they weren't. They did. Who cares? Not the point. It's a Michigan State game. It's a home game in theory. You only get like 7 of these home games. It's close to Detroit. A lot of alumni, like myself, like we saw 2 years ago, go down no matter what because, hey, you know what? Even during rough seasons, we love Michigan State football. That was a horrible showing. And I'm not saying that, Michigan State fans should be ashamed of themselves. No, quite the opposite. Like, this is how bad the program has gotten. This comes from the athletic department. This comes from, this coaching staff. And this is also just another reason why I'm out. Now, what is attendance at a Ford Field game? Am I making just too much out of nothing? I don't think so. I think having energy around a program truly matters. Selling your program to a fan base. Selling your program to people that are more important than just fans, like donors, which I've heard that has even been kind of like, selling your program to recruits, to transfer portal targets. There are 2 ways that you can sell a program. One is the easier said than done route. It's to win. 2 is showing energy. Showing a relationship between you and the fan base. Possibly being someone that you're not if you're Jonathan Smith. And this kind of makes me a little uncomfortable to talk about because by all accounts, he seems like a great guy, right? You never question that, like, oh man, does he have his heart in the right places? Is he really a stand-up guy? Of course it's not about that. But man, you need fire in football. You need the cameras when you pan over to the sidelines, at least seeing some fire before it's way too little, way too late, like it has been with him. You need a mover and shaker in the rooms when donors are there. And that sucks about this day and age of college football, that a coach just can't be a coach. Well, guess what? It is what it is. We all have things that pop up at our jobs that make us a little bit uncomfortable that we have to adapt to. And I just don't see a lot of adaptation going on with Jonathan Smith there. So that reflects on the program. It reflects on the attendance. I couldn't believe it looked like that tonight. And maybe shame on me. Maybe I was just dumb the entire time, thinking that it would look anything like it was 2 years ago. Was I expecting sellout? No. Was I expecting, I don't even know if this is half capacity. No, I wasn't expecting that either. There needs to be a jolt somehow, some way in this fan base. You're not going to get that with year 3. You're not going to get a resurgence out of nothing just out of year 3. And I get it. Like, they showed fight at the end of the season. They tried really hard. They never quit. That is all fun and well. Like, that's great if it was the first season of a rebuild. Is 2 years long enough to rebuild an entire program? Some people have done it, obviously. Kurt Cignetti did it in 1 year. But largely, no. When you overtake rubble that was Michigan State, and that is what Jonathan Smith inherited, he did not inherit a good situation. Don't get me wrong. You've heard me talk about it on this show if you've listened to any episode in the last month. No, it's not enough to build a program in 2 years. But is 2 years enough to let me know if we're going in the right direction with the program? I think so. I don't think we've seen enough development. Yeah, sure, we saw an offensive explosion today. That's against a horrible Maryland team that has routinely checked out after the month of September. I'm not going to put stock into that. I'm going to look at the previous few games, okay? We needed to see more, and we didn't. I think 2 years, you can't build a program out that, but you could show the vision. You could show that there's an identity. You could show that things are at least moving in the right direction overall. I haven't seen it, and we'll see if Michigan State sees it, because, yeah, I expect to hear news tomorrow. You got to hear news tomorrow. We can't just keep on being silent. Just can't. Yeah, guys, I'll talk to you probably tomorrow. Longer episode tomorrow. We'll get into it. And before I go, let's sandwich this. Start talking about Alante Brown. Let's sandwich something about the game too. No matter what happens, I would love to see Alessio Milivojevic back here. Just like we said before this show here. If you go back to any other shows, and maybe you missed one or two, whoever misses an episode of Locked on Spartans, but just one thing I got to say about Alessio is he's shown so far in his 4 starts that he's had that at worst, he's an average Big Ten quarterback, because he's put up some pretty good numbers. He's shown accuracy, some really solid processing, and just overall the intangible stuff like toughness and grit. He's shown all that behind an offensive line that just largely has been really bad so far this season. So if you just get him behind a decent offensive line, I'd love to see what this kid can turn into, because I've loved what I saw from him the last 4 weeks of the season. And whether it's Smith, whether it's someone else, it's Gerald, Matt Campbell, come on down, Jason Eck, sure, me, you, the listener, guys, keep your phone close to you tomorrow. J-Bat might be calling you for an interview. Who knows? I'd like to see Alessio back, though. And I'd like to see you guys back. The viewers, the listeners of Locked on Spartans. Take care of yourselves. Again, we will be back very, very close. Love you all. Go green. Go green. Go green. Go green. They won. Let's go.